Alright guys, so we are in Gallery Vittorio Emanuele II. This is the largest and the oldest shopping mall in all of Milan. I'm not much of a shopper, so I'm more of looking for the architecture here, which is quite nice. It's built in the 19th century. But you know, if you're into shopping, I mean, this is a place to be. There's Prada and Gucci and Swarovski. This is sort of the center of fashion, world fashion. So if you're into shopping, definitely a place to go. But about Vittorio Emanuele II, let me tell you a little bit more. So Italy went under a few conquests. You know, first you have Napoleon conquering it in the beginning of 19th century. Then you have the Austrians, of course. And then in the middle of 19th century, Italy went through the Independence War. And they were victorious, and the first king of Italy became a man known as Vittorio Emanuele II, the first king of United Italy in over 600 years. And that happened mid-19th century. So the whole mall that we just walked through is called in his honor. And in fact, as you can see, we're here in the main square, and we're gonna walk up to his monument. It's a beautiful monument right here in the center. Vittorio Emanuele II. There you are. Look at that. Look at that. Warlike. Look at that figure. So here we are. Here's Vittorio on the horse, ready to ride into the battle. Very fearsome looking. And you see there's images of soldiers in their winning battles portrayed here on the bottom. And then you have a lion that I think, well, let's see on the other side. I think the crest that they're holding is one of Rome and the other one of Milan. Yeah, there we go. This one says Rome. But yeah, look how cool this is. Fantastic. It's huge. It's very huge. Oh, and there's eagle, sort of an old Roman symbol. And then of course here you have Duomo di Milano. What makes this church so special besides its amazing beauty? Well, it took more than 600 years to complete. So they actually started building this in the 14th century and then finished it in 20th century. Can you imagine? For all that time, we had continuous design improvements on this beautiful building, and in a way, it's still being made. There's always renovations going on, so the work is never done. So since the middle of 14th century, people have been crafting this beautiful building. It is the largest church in the Republic of Italy, and the only larger one being St. Peter in Vatican. But of course, Vatican is a sovereign state, so that doesn't count. So in Italy, this is the largest church. It is also the second largest in Europe, and supposedly the third largest in the world. So we're looking at something very, very historically important, very important for Christianity around the world, for religious people, and really excited to be here. We'll go in and I'll give you a better look inside. By the way, little side note. So, you know, there's different terms like church and chapel and basilica and a cathedral. So this Duomo di Milano, this is a cathedral. So let's just go over some terms. So church is basically any place of worship that is administrated by diakon or a priest right? So churches can be really anywhere as long as you have some kind of administration performing religious services there. Now, chapel is more about physical presence. So chapels can be as small as one-room buildings, and there's no priest associated with the chapel. It usually is run by a nearby parish or a church, but there's actually no services, active services there. You can just go and pray on your own. So that's a chapel. Now, when we get to a cathedral, this is where a bishop sits. So what makes a church a cathedral is you have to have a bishop being in charge of it. And here you have, this is a sitting place of a bishop of city of Milan. So this is why this is a cathedral. Now, a basilica is made by a decree from a pope. So if Pope deems a cathedral or a church to be of great importance, he will give it, granted the right to be called a basilica. So that's a little overview of the terms. So what we're looking at is a church, but also a cathedral, because this is where the Bishop of Milan sits. So, okay, let's go check it out. Wow, look at this, guys. This is magnificent. Like, the sheer size and amount of detail in all of this is just breathtaking. You know, I'm looking in front of me, and it's hard to comprehend what I'm looking at because it's so grandiose and so mesmerizing. Man, and you know, it's so nice. Like, if you look at the square here, there's tons of people here. There's also tons of pigeons. They're sort of flying in your face, and but it you know, makes it a very lively place to be. But yeah, I just wanted to give you this facade view of the cathedral, Duomo di Milano. We'll go in a second, but I just wanted you to see how awesome it is from this side. So as we're standing here in front of the cathedral, before we go in, I wanted to tell you about a different side of history, a little bit more sinister history of Italy that you can see standing here in the main square. And I have my buddy Ben here, he knows a lot about World War II history. So Ben, what can you tell us?
Well, we were just noticing as you stand here, there's these two buildings that look vastly different from the rest of the super old buildings, if you will. And so these two buildings, part of the Palazzo del Arengario, I believe. And so you can see the sort of Art Deco celebrating human victory, I guess, features on the bottom there above the doors, lots of open spaces. And so this was like a local government office of the fascists during World War II. And this part of Italy, Milan specifically, of course, fascists came to power in 1922 on the March on Rome, and then ruled until what they called the 20 anni, the 20 years, until 1942, when of course they had the armistice of Cathedral, and sort of Italy split in two into a bit of a civil war. Pretty mean civil war, but northern Italy became the Italian Social Republic once the Germans freed Mussolini and sent him back here. And this wasn't the capital nominally, but it was one of the capitals and definitely the most populous city of the Social Republic. So there's lots of fascist influence throughout this city. There's another building over there. We drove by several buildings that had very Art Deco style fasces on them. And the train station, which we'll go back to later, was built in 1931 to sort of celebrate the victory and the momentum of the fascist regime, and it's full of those motifs. So certainly in Milan, the architecture is everywhere you look.
There you go. Learned something new. Bet you didn't know when you're in the center here that you're not just looking at churches and buildings from... Oh yeah.
Also, by the way, Milan was heavily bombed from basically 1940 to 1944, and especially after the truce the armistice in 1942. But if you look up even just simple articles of the bombing of Milan, we see here the Galleria, and you can see all the glass ceilings there. This was absolutely just shattered and caved in. And I think Milan had the second highest death toll after Bologna of bombings in Italy, like casualties from the Allied bombings. So looks very different now, but it looked very different then too.
There you go. We both learned something new today. All right, let's go into the cathedral and see what it's like on the inside. Now look at the detail as we're walking up closer. Man, look at these sculptures. So many biblical stories portrayed here. So many saints, prophets. Just fantastic. Wow. The great door here will be, of course, I guess, the main entrance when the mass is happening. But yeah, let's go inside. So the entrance to our tour begins here at the side entrance right here. I just wanted to show you this side of the cathedral. Look at this. Everywhere, like literally every inch off, every square meter of this building is portraying some kind of biblical story. Just fascinating. Oh, there we go. We'll go here. All right, here we are at the rooftop. Okay. Oh, look at this. Yeah, we're right behind the carvings. The stone here. Oh. Oh, you know, as you walk in here, you can smell the incense of the religious proceedings. Oh, this is quite unique.
Oh, new stuff.
Doing stuff?
Yeah, look at that. We're running white.
Look at the stairs. You can see how worn down the rock is. You can just imagine how many times people have walked here. Wow. Okay. Wow. So we're walking on the almost very top point of the whole basilica. Beautiful views from up here. You know, it makes you just think how much humans can do, you know? They started building this in the 14th century. This colossal of a cathedral. Can you imagine back in the day? Most people were living in 1 or 2 or 3 story buildings. You would come up here and you see this magnificent, tall, extravagant basilica. I mean, it would take your breath away, right? And that's sort of, that was the whole point. This was supposed to represent the beauty of God. So the more magnificent the church is, the more a person can grasp the ungraspable, the beauty of the Creator, right? So it had to surpass anything else in the city. And that's why the creators went to such length to make sure that when you look here and visit it, you're left speechless and wondering, how was it even possible to create something like this? Wow. Oh, look, and we can even go further up right there. Okay, wow. Okay, let's see how far we can go up. You know, but really, just imagine how much manpower it took to build something like this. You know, you have just simple tools, no cranes, no tractors, no nothing. You know, just hand pulled, donkey pulled, like animal pulled lifts, right? And that's all you use to create all of this. Just the sheer volume of manpower that was needed is astounding. Okay guys, we made it. We're at the very top. We're literally standing at the very top of the cathedral, right on the rooftop. I'll show you in a second. It's a beautiful sunny view from up here. So this is where you walk up, and there you go. You can see the slope of the roof. Here we are, standing right in the middle of it, but look at that. You can see the steeple, the main highest architecture sites here. So this way, right there, that would be towards the main square. But yeah, how cool. How often do you get to have a chance to literally walk the roof of a cathedral? Perhaps the third largest church in the world. And we're at the very top of it. Wow. Well, not very top of it, I guess. The very top would be going up there, but I think that is closed for reconstruction right now, unfortunately, because look at that. There's a beautiful spiral stairway leading to the both sides of it, but you know, unfortunately we can't go up there. But look at the view from here. Wow. Let's go down. But let's sort of watch our step. We don't want to fall through these things. It's quite sloped, but not too much. Yeah, there we are. There you go. There's a modern Milan for you right there with skyscrapers. Oh my gosh, this is very high. So we're getting cold feet here. But yeah, look at that. There's the Galleria. What a view. You can sort of imagine an ancient monk or priest or bishop going for a stroll along these walkways, perhaps coming here to be in solitude, to pray or meditate. Right. Quite incredible. Makes you wonder what the view of Milan was like back in the 14th century, 15th, 16th century when they finished building it up high here. Wow. This is fantastic. I just wanted to give you a little bit closer look at the main steeple. Unfortunately, it is closed, but you can see the elaborate stairway leading up to it, and there's angels standing on the top of these poles, and then there's a saint on the very top. You should find out which saint that is, but obviously that would be the protector of the city. But look at that. Yeah, fantastic. Just fantastic. Just wanted to give you a brief glimpse from the side view right here. Just look how elaborate these columns are. Just look at all the different little statues they have here. You know, each one is a work of art. So it's no wonder this took 600 years to complete. You know, it's just fantastic. Let me just try to zoom in just so you see the complexity of the whole thing, you know? Look at that. Wow. There's even some statues that you can't see. They're sort of locked in behind some of these little columns. So, you know, they definitely didn't spare any resources or time in the design. Yeah, wow. Wow. And I just wanted to show you something here. As we're walking out on the side of the building, you can see this magical creatures. I mean, are they griffins or gargoyles? Not too sure, but a very unique feature, that's for sure. Alright guys, so downstairs there's no elevator, so you have to walk stairs down. It takes about 2 minutes to get down, but that's all right. But we are inside the basilica. I can't wait to show you this. This is fantastic, and I think some kind of service was here earlier on, so you can smell the incense. It's fantastic. Check this out. Here we are. So we just walked out of these stairs, and look at that. So here we are, guys. You know, something quite interesting is the female monastery that we saw just yesterday. Look at the style of the ceiling. It's very much the same, you know. So I'm wondering if that's a classical Gothic style with these kind of spiral things on the ceiling, or if it's something that has been quite popular here in Milan at the time, because these churches were sort of built in roughly the same centuries. But wow, look at that. This is just so grandiose, you know? When you walk here, like look how little people are. Look how huge these columns, supporting columns are. They're beasts. Wow, look at that. Oh, I'm gonna show you something very, very, very interesting. So right here, inside the Duomo di Milano, you can see the final resting places of some of the beautified archbishops of this beautiful cathedral. So right here we have Beato Alfredo Ildefonso Schuster. So he was a archbishop. And what is interesting, this is actually the resting places. It's like a mausoleum. So the saint, so the body you see there is actually the body of the archbishop. It's just covered up in the garments, and there's a mask, but that you're actually seeing the actual body of this deceased bishop from 100 years ago. And he's not the only one. There's quite a few, and I want to show you. Them. Here's Andrea Carlo Ferrari. So this archbishop was actually in charge of the cathedral during World War I. And so he would have to comfort the families of soldiers and soldiers themselves with the trauma that the World War I brought and the devastation. He was beautified by Pope Giovanni Paolo II on the May 10th, 1987. Again, this is actually him. You're looking at his actual body. Wow. As we walk on, you see other religious and royal leaders that are buried within the walls of this cathedral. It's a fantastic one. Like, just look at the glass work. It's magnificent, you know, especially when the light is shining like this. The colors, they're so vibrant, so rich and full. Like, look at that. Wow. This truly takes your breath away. It does. It really does. Wow. Look at that. And there is one part of the church that we were not able to go in right now, but it should be open within the next half an hour. So we'll go in there. That's where the mass was being served earlier today. That's why it is still closed. But wow, look at this beautiful Gothic cathedral from the middle centuries. Wow. Ah, I see. So I was wrong. That's where the main altar is. Right there. You see? Right there. So we'll get close to it right after the mass is done. So we are now in the Archaeological Museum of Duomo di Milano. So it is underneath the main cathedral. Looks really interesting. And there's some really neat artifacts that we're about to see. For example, there's one from St. Ambrose, which is a very prominent bishop in the early Christian times. It's going to be fantastic to see an inscription that he wrote himself here in the Museum of Archaeology in the Duomo. Let's go see. So this is amazing. What we're looking at here underneath the cathedral is a remnants of the baptistry of San Giovanni alla Fonte, and it was actually built by Ambrose himself. So we are returning to the 4th century. This is very, very, very early Christianity. This is only less than 100 years after the Edict of Milan was passed, of course, and so what you would have here is the first monasteries and churches of Christianity sprawling up here in Milan. As you can imagine, a lot of these designs were heavily influenced still by the ancient Roman designs, and even the materials themselves might have been taken from earlier pagan sites. You know, who knows, but quite interesting. And here we can see the archaeologists found not so long ago in the 1960s is the presence of burial places. So right here we can see one of these such places, and of course this would be probably the early Christians that would be buried within these walls. So you have to think that's probably the second or third generation of Christians in Roman Empire that started to be buried here in the baptistry at the time. So this is very the beginnings of the Italian or Roman Empire's Christian history. Wow, this is so unique. Look at this. So what we're looking at here actually is the baptistry, what it would have looked like in the 4th and 5th century when after its foundation by Ambrose. You know, this is what it looked like, and this is what it looks like today. So, you know, you would have the new converts coming down the steps and submerging into the holy water and becoming sort of newborn Christians right here. This is a very holy place for the Christian folks. You know, this is the heart of the early Christian Milan. Wow. 4th century baptistry. Oh my God. Wow. You can still see some of the frescoes on the wall. Look at that. Right there on the wall, you can sort of see little remnants in the floor as it looked. Wow, look at that. Man, this is cool. As you can see, this is a little floor plan of, I guess, what it looked like. So here's a baptistry right here that we just saw. And I guess this would be the floor plan of the old basilica. Wow. Now, I thought this was quite unique. I wanted to show you up close. This is the mosaic and how it was done. As you can see, there's a procedure how the stones were placed in the plaster. But here you can see the precious stones up close, and sort of can imagine for yourself how challenging of a task it was to create these elaborate paintings made out of mosaic. Well, not paintings, but mosaics. These little pebbles of colorful stone. This is quite unique too. I think this is the coins from the 4th century. It's pretty unique. And look at this. So this stone right here was actually a part of a funerary stone from the 1st century AD. But it was later found inside the walls of the old cathedral. As you can see here, this is where they found it. But what a unique example of recycling of materials from the pagan 1st century tombstone to the walls of basilica. Wow. And look at this. This just sort of shows us just how many burials were found here. And what it says is that these burials were usually reserved for higher members of the clergy, of laymen. Of course, the closer you are buried to a holy place, the more divinity you get. And so people were after these spots right here. So this would be considered the holiest people of their time. They were giving the honor to be laid to rest right here in the old basilica. Here's another example of beautiful ancient frescoes that would cover these walls. Rather simple design, but it's so neat to look at it today, surrounded by these ancient walls. Wow, look at that. It's quite a unique museum because, the cathedral itself is a museum, but then you go down and you can see another layer from the 3rd and 4th century, but then you can look even more down. This is surely something from the Roman times, I imagine. So this is a very, very unique place. And when you look at something like this, where you have different churches built on a different and at the same place, just again reassures the theory that most religious, famous religious places are sort of recycled religious sites from pre-Christian times, and they never quite disappear. It's much easier to build upon it than to create something new in some unknown place. Usually, these places just get fortified by more walls, and so this is an example here underneath the Duomo di Milano. These 3 tombs that we're looking at right here are the only 3 that were found inside church's main nave area. And so that is obvious that these were very, very, very important people to this church. And here's a beautiful example of the fresco that is written here. It read something like, God take me, and then into your protection. I couldn't find the full text, but it kind of gives you an idea. Look at this, you can almost look inside these things. Wow, really neat. All right, well, we're back to the Basilica. That archaeology museum was amazing. I don't know, there was another church right underneath this one. Well, I'm gonna walk through the left side of the Basilica, and hopefully by now, the altar should be open. Usually it opens up, they said, around 12:30 or 1, so you never quite know, but it is 12:30 right now, so let's say a little prayer that we get to see it up close. We're just waiting for the altar to open up and taking a short stroll through the Basilica. I just wanted to show you more of it because, you never get tired of this. Like, even look at the floor. Look at the intricate marble mosaic all along this magnificent building. Oh, wow. It's very different from what we saw in Venice, in San Marcos Cathedral. But it's much more Gothic. That one was more Greek, Byzantine, This is a beautiful example of a Gothic architecture. There where you see these doors open is where the organ, two organs I guess, are placed. And then look at those beautiful glass artworks on the other side. Wow. And I really hope we can get up there right now. It's just fantastic. Yes, there you go. Here's a beautiful view on the organ. I love how they have these doors. So when you open up, it looks even more magnificent because you have these painting or frescoes to each side of it. It's so pretty. Wow. Okay, well hopefully they open this part soon and we get to see close up to the altar. Okay guys, so the gates are open. We're about to go in the Holy of the Holiest here in the Duomo di Milano. Let's go. So this is only open for a few hours every day. You never know quite, but around 12:30 to 1. Look at that. Beautiful. So we can get up and close to the glass work here. Wow, look at that. Oh, how beautiful is this? There we are. This is so intricate. Oh my God. Look at that. You know, you can't really see it from where we were, but from here, oh my God. Each little glasswork artwork has a very intricate story. Wow. I hope you can see it from here. This is fantastic. So here we are, sort of behind the altar here, and just admiring these beautiful glass frescoes. Wow. They're truly huge. It's like looking at a kaleidoscope of colors. But it's not just color, it's very unique stories in each one. And I'm sure you will recognize if you look close enough. Wow. And of course, I don't want to leave these symbols overlooked, which says Chrismos Sancti Ambrosi, as I'm sure honoring the Ambrose who has originally opened this baptistry. Here we see a beautiful tapestry with Madonna and the baby Jesus surrounded by little angels. And here you see Jesus surrounded by angels, of course being resurrected after the crucifixion. Fantastic. Okay, let's go to the other side. Let's see what we can see there. And I'm not quite sure what is down here, but right in the center of the church, underneath the altar, we have this room right there. So down that room that we just saw, that's actually a crypt for the Saint Carlo. Very important saint for this area in Christianity in general. Unfortunately, the room itself is closed due to COVID. It's been closed for quite a few years, but hopefully, maybe next time we're here, we'll have a chance to go inside the crypt and see it more. Right next to the Duomo, we have the Museum of the Duomo. So let's check it out. So I guess it tells you a little bit of history, how the Duomo was built and the architecture that they used. Oh, that's cozy scenery. Oh wow, look at that. Beautiful. Alright guys, well, we just walked through the Museum of Duomo. And I'm still confused because you know, there's signs saying that the telephone and photography is allowed, and most places you can take videos, but in some places you can't. Obviously, it's not like you can take a video or a photo, it's everybody's doing it, so I'm not sure what the rules are. Everybody has their own answer, depending which room you walk into. So I took a bunch of videos, but you know, I didn't narrate them, just not to piss off anybody. So sorry, there's no commentary there, but you could see how amazing it was. You can see up close the statues that we see on the walls here in Duomo. So it was quite unique. Beautiful frescoes, some golden, some crosses and crucifixion scenery made out of gold. So really cool museum. So if you're here, just get the full thing. It's like 20 euros for, you know, you go to the roof, then you go to the basilica, then you can go to the museum, and just the full $20 ticket seems to be the perfect option. So this concludes our visit to Milan. We saw quite a few things, old churches, cathedrals, museums, even some architecture like Napoleon's Ark, and it's a beautiful city, I have to say. For the size of it, being such a large European city, it flows pretty well. You know, like it's not dirty. People are very nice. I found them to be. Beautiful architecture wherever you go. Nice food. So it's a great city. If you have a chance, do come here. But yes, if you want to see the Last Supper, book early, like months or two early, because everything is booked until October, and this is the beginning of September. So, but other than that, no, feeling good. We got some gifts. We got some wine from Duomo Cathedral. So hopefully, I can safeguard it until Calgary. And yeah, no, it's been nice. Anyway, we're gonna hop on the train in a few hours here and head our way to Florence, which is of course the birthplace of Renaissance. I'm really looking forward to that. So yeah, excited to have you guys with me when we go there. Cheers.